Changing the Culture of Public Health in Kabwe, Zambia, a Water Quality Intervention. In 1902, the discovery of lead and zinc deposits in surrounding areas led to the establishment of Kabwe, and what used to be a prosperous mining town has now turned into the site of a public health crisis. This is due to heavy metal contamination from the abandoned mines. Broken Hill Mine, located just on the edge of town, is a significant source of heavy metal contamination. The mine was closed in 1994 to the community's dismay, as it used to employ a substantial proportion of the population. Since then, residents have struggled to find employment. On top of contamination from the mines, widespread poverty complicates Kabwe's public health status even further. Contamination from the lead mine pollutes soil, dust, and water in the surrounding areas. Exposure to even low levels of lead can cause irreversible brain damage in people, especially in children. Exposure to very high levels of lead can even be fatal. There are two notable sources of water contamination in Kabwe: shallow wells and handling. Shallow wells, the source of water for many people in Kabwe, are the main contributors to potential health problems due to high levels of heavy metal contamination in shallow groundwater. Another contributor to contamination is handling. Once the water is collected, even from a safe public tap, it is transported in open buckets, which exposes the water to dust from contaminated soil and bacteria from users' hands and households. In order to attack contamination at the source, we plan to install 4 new public taps in place of shallow wells. These taps will use water from deeper aquifers with less susceptibility to contamination. Additionally, we will distribute 16,000 covered buckets to reduce contamination from dust and bacteria from travel to and from the public tap after the water is already collected. With a lid on the bucket, exposure to lead dust from contaminated soil and bacteria within individual households will be reduced. However, an intervention strategy is never successful unless people take advantage of the resources it provides. We supply the resources, but we will need the help of 3 local Kabwe influencers to motivate people to use the safe containers, to teach individuals to keep their hands out of stored water, and to collect water from the new taps. Also, in order to save money, the influencers will also be responsible for distributing the safe containers. Our budget involves the expense of 4 new public tap installations, 16,000 safe containers, which we hope will cover around 50,000 households, roughly 1/4 of Kabwe's population, and a year's salary for the 3 influencers. As demonstrated, we fall just $50 shy of our budget limit of $50,000. Additionally, to compensate for unforeseen expenses, we can always reduce the amount of containers we buy. Clean water is a key signal of adequate public health in a community. Adequate public health often leads to increased productivity. People surely are not motivated to do things when they are sick. Thus, improving the water quality and attempting to influence the behavioral practices of Kabwe could help the community achieve a better life that we all deserve.